the God idea. Normally, she wouldn't let her phone ring more than once. But this particular afternoon, she didn't answer when the call came. At least, not the first time. When her cell phone buzzed and she saw on her dim white screen who the caller was, she let it go to the voicemail. Whatever it was, she will listen to it whenever she had the time to. She tucked the phone back into her blue jeans pocket. It was the one her father had bought her on their last shopping date. Instead of going up the wooden stairs to her one-room apartment at Medicine Avenue, she decided to stop in to see her friend, Bruce, in his small two-chair barber shop that was opposite Manor's gift shop. The two buildings were separated by a tarred road with lots of potholes that ran down to the next street. It spoke so much about the state of her relationship with her father. "Danielle," Bruce said, without getting up from the barber chair he sat on. The shop was empty of customers. On very few occasions would you find anybody coming to get a haircut by this time. He immediately dropped the Vogue magazine onto his lap. "What are you doing here? And where are my boys, the young liberals?" Bruce always had something like that to ask. He and Danielle became friends since the day he saw her moving into her apartment. That was 7 months ago. That day, he helped her carry all of her luggage up and even bought her sandwiches when they were done. Their story is very much the fact that they hit it off from the start. Even though he was almost twice her age, she will quickly find that if there was anyone who could make her smile easily, it was him. Young liberals was his way of referring to Mark and Matthew, the 4-year-old twins she babysat 5 days a week or even on weekends, depending on the schedule of their parents, who were both doctors at the Lakeview Medical Center in Massachusetts. The tag on them was in reference to their parents' political affiliation. "I got the day off 'cause their mother wanted them for the whole day," she answered as she sat in the barber chair next to the one Bruce was sitting on. Bruce's shop always reminded her of the appearance of Afghanistan in the old American movies. Bottles of various sizes and shapes lined in the counter in front of the mirror that covered most of the wall in front of them. Beside them, at the far right, were old magazines and newspapers strewn around the top of a table that was also gradually gathering dust. She didn't tell you where they were going or what they would be doing. Danielle could say that Bruce was trying to keep a conversation going, as she avoided his gaze by pretending to be studying herself in the big barber shop mirror that faced them. She noticed that her face looked worried even as she tucked her long blonde hair behind her ears. "Didn't, not like I bothered to ask." The phone in her pocket came alive again. It first vibrated, followed by the song intro. Then the words of her favorite song started. "Thank God I Can Breathe." It was a song by Riles. She pulled the phone out of her pocket, looked at it and shoved it back into her pocket, with a grimace scrawled all over her face. "Running away from some guy? Come on, you should know better than that," she answered. "I haven't had any dates since I started working for the Lawrence 5 months ago. I have had enough on my plate since I couldn't pay off my school debts. To get the bursa, unblock my student account so I will be able to take more classes. I've been trying to raise money for my tuition for the past 1 year. You know, I asked my dad 6 weeks after his wedding that I didn't want him paying for my schooling anymore, since he was now married and has a wife to cater for. We ended up having a fight on the phone. That was shortly before I moved into Madison Avenue. It's a long story. So what about Jamie? That guy you once told me about. I never got to meet him. Forget about him, Danielle replied. So, if not a guy, who are you avoiding? Bruce can be a real pain when he wants to. She sighed. It's Angela, my dad's wife. Didn't you say they live in... Bruce began. In Amsterdam, yeah, she said. Bruce kept nodding. So you are not going to answer? I will, when I am less busy. Her glance returned to the phone. Her stepmother had called twice and left 3 voice messages. That was so unusual. Unusual enough to get her attention. Her mind traveled back to that day, during her 3rd year in college, when her dad showed up in school and took her to lunch, since her mother passed away when she was only 7. She and her dad became super close. So when he told her he had found someone, she wasn't expecting that the someone will be an Angela that he was going to get married to. You would love her when you meet her, like her name. She is truly an angel. We met during a seminar I spoke at in Wisconsin last summer. Oh, she said. That was all she could think of saying. She is very beautiful. He pulled out his cell phone. Here's her picture. Danielle took the phone. She pretended to be interested. Then she handed it back, saying, She's pretty. Yeah, she is. And she's also a writer. Her dad looked so happy. She wanted to be happy with him, for him. So she tried to show more interest. What kind of books does she write? Christian books, he answered. Christian books? Did she hear him right? She didn't believe her ears. She and her father have never been seriously religious. In fact, he dumped the God idea when her mom died of a chronic ulcer. Danielle, Angela has introduced me to Jesus. She has changed my life. No, I meant to say Jesus changed my life, but he did it through her. Dad, what are you saying? Wasn't it this same Jesus who couldn't heal Mom when she kept praying to him to heal her? Danielle, your mom is gone and she is with Jesus. If she was here, I'm sure she would want you to have him in your life too. There was no way she could stand this talk. She had made up her mind long ago that this Jesus, whoever he was, has lost a chance in her life. As she stood up to dash off the exit of the restaurant where they sat, the chair fell off with a thud. Danielle felt a tap on her shoulder. It was Bruce asking her to make room for a customer who just walked in to get a haircut. With a start, she made for the door. I've got to go home, she said as she runs out of the barber shop.